if you've been following my channel for any length of time, you notice I posted a 2008 Crown Vic update video a while back showing that the wheels were probably in need of paint, and then I went ahead and sprayed them the other day and posted on Instagram. May have posted here too. Anyway, they came out just awful. So I am starting from scratch. I did the aircraft stripper on these, sanding, even with the little air sander there, trying to get as much off. And of course, I'm not done sanding yet. There's still, as you can see, more to be done. But what's weird is there's just like this gel coming off rather than, normally when you're sanding paint, you're kind of getting dry flakes off, and what I'm getting is this thick gel of messy stuff that just clogs up the sandpaper. So it's taken a long time, but I'm hoping that these will come out looking at least as good as they did when I painted them before, hopefully even better. And while I've got the wheels off, I thought I would touch up the brake calipers. Some of them came out better than others. I just kind of threw it together at the last minute, put some masking tape around and so forth. So ideally you would remove them, remove the brake pads, everything, and paint them that way. But since nobody really inspects these up close, from far away they look pretty good, and I don't think I got any overspray anywhere. Y'all can make fun of my double gloves, but earlier I had triple gloves because what's happening is you see the solvents eat through the gloves, and I've got several black fingers right now. All right, this is as good as it's going to get. If this doesn't work, I don't know what I'll do. But I have sanded and paint prepped and lacquer thinner, alcohol, acetone, cleaner, degreaser, soap and water. I mean, I have cleaned and cleaned and cleaned, and so if there's any contaminants on these, I don't know what I'll do. But some of you have seen videos where people put note cards or whatever in the tire to mask it, and while that probably does work for rattle canning, at least to a certain degree, and if you're not in a windy area, it doesn't work with a paint gun. The paint gun will blow them out of there. And ask me how I know that they will automatically land where you just painted and ruin your paint job. This method, however, seems to work for paint guns. And what I did, you see I took regular paper and I cut it into thirds. So these are 8.5 wide. So the paper is cut basically, a full sheet cut into thirds like that. So they're 8.5 this way. They're about 3.5-ish wide. And you see what they do is they roll over. So they're a little more secure than just note cards, which stand up and can get blown away. And the next thing I do is tape them all together, which makes them that much stronger and makes them more resistant to blowing away. Now, I also think it's acceptable to not even bother masking them and just paint the tires too. If you spray paint your tires black with just like rattle can black, they will last about a month, looking like you put a really good tire shine product on them, and then they just sort of go away. It doesn't really flake off and leave them looking weird for any length of time. I notice it just they're shiny and then they're back to normal. But since I'm going to be priming, painting, and clear coating, I thought I would go ahead and mask the tires. All right, everything masked off if you want it. You see I also taped up the valve stem. Since I've gone down to bare metal, I'm going to use a self-etching primer. Don't ask me what the point of it is. I just know we're supposed to use self-etching when you are priming bare metal. Shook the can for a good 60 seconds. It is 63 degrees in here, so we should get reasonably good results. Just going to spray from all angles here, trying to cover all the nooks and crannies. Alright, so the main areas that I'm concerned about appearance-wise is basically this band right in there. That's what's going to show up the most. If this outer ridge gets a lot of orange peel or other problems, I'm not too concerned, as well as the centerpiece is going to be covered by the center cap, so if it looks bad, no biggie. I'll do the other 3 wheels exact same way. Alright, the self-etching primer says to wait 30 minutes before painting on top of it, which is interesting. However, I have noticed, looking at all 4 of them, there are still some wet spots on some of the wheels, so I guess that's a good idea to let it dry that long. My big debate now is I have gloss black Rattle can that's a paint and primer. I have the engine black that I used on these originally, and then I also have black right out of the spray gun. And I'm leaning more towards Rattle canning the black and just doing the clear out of the spray gun. It's a little easier to manage that way. Like I said, when you're using the spray gun, it really moves that paper around because it sprays out a lot more air pressure than the Rattle cans. So I may just end up flipping a coin on whether to use the black with the primer or use the engine. The engine one obviously is supposed to handle the heat better, and obviously wheels can get hot when you're driving around. Alright, I decided on the engine enamel, which is what I used before when it turned out so good back 2016 or whenever I painted these last. So we'll start with a thin coat, again spraying from all angles. And I'll let that dry. And no, that's not a complete coat. I just want to get a light coat on there to give it something to stick to, and then I'll let it, as they say, flash for about 5 or 10 minutes probably, and then hit it with the second coat. they came out fantastic. This is the next day. There do not appear to be any runs, or if there is any orange peel, it's extremely minor. But for wheels, I think they came out great. So because that is the activated clear, that should last like any other professional paint job. I'll say 8 to 10 years. I don't know, I'm just guessing, but compared to a Rattle can, which just Rattle can without clear, you know, maybe a year before it starts looking bad. But anyway, that's the best way to do it, in my opinion. Activated clear, and they are really popping. Now the tires look terrible because they have no tire shine on them. I will remedy that when they go back on the car.